so I just have to say, we have a few minutes left, and I feel like I have this great opportunity because we've got the school counselor with us tonight, and we had this conversation the other day about mindfulness, and it was just so powerful to me. And as we think about this idea of being able to reflect, not giving into the frenzy, right, of the transition. I was wondering, could you just share a little bit with the community about some of those mindfulness practices that you're working with students and teachers with?
Awesome. Yes, I'd love to. I'd love to. So, in my work with at our campus, we call them scholars. With the scholars at my campus, I have quite a few who are working on self-regulation. Quite a few who will just say right off the bat, Miss, I get angry.
Yeah.
And I get very angry, and everyone knows how I am, which is a conversation that I had today. They know how I am. Yeah. So then my follow-up question was, so tell me more about that. How are you?
Yeah.
And so invariably we have conversations about just being triggered and just set completely off.
Yep.
But when we are more mindful, we realize that when we're triggered, we feel that. We feel it somewhere before we get just kind of set off.
Right? Like the body knows. The body knows.
The body knows, yes. And I am a fiery Leo woman. So I know and I'm Southern. I know what that's like.
We got it all.
Trifecta. But so for me, I share that before that train leaves the station, I feel it in my ears burn and my eyes tear. So the ears burn, that's my first warning. But when the tears come, I've got to do something different. Speaking of resetting, right? Speaking of resetting.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. And so we work on breathing, inhaling for a certain count, holding and releasing. I do vary that count depending on the student, the scholar, because some of them I notice they're closer to mastering deep breathing than others. Some are just like, they're just a ball of energy. So if we can breathe in for 2 counts, hold, breathe out for 2, like we are winning.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So I vary that, and then I offer them a chance to select 1 or 2 strategies. So the first would be to just after pouring water on the fire, that's what we call it. Breathe to pour water on the fire. And then I ask them their favorite color. Mm-hmm. And then I tell them after they've poured water on the fire, just find their favorite color in the room and name it.
I'm telling you, teachers are writing this down right now. Yeah. Find your favorite color.
Find your favorite color.
Yep.
Okay. Just because what that does is it brings you back into your, just speaking very colloquially, into your right mind. And I know we have other terms, reptilian brain and so on. We get to that by like session 3, but in session 1, we're just speaking strategies. And so then another that we do is after pouring water on the fire, we check in with our senses. So it's a conversation of, what do you see? So that's always easy. What do you hear? That's easy. What do you smell? That's a little harder because, I have teenagers. So it's like, Miss, I don't smell anything. I smell air. Like, okay. But maybe you smell air, but let's just stay there for a few seconds. We have time.
Because what that's doing is really helping them get outside of that, like that intensity, right?
Right, yes.
Right. So being able to pay attention to those senses is taking all that anxiety and starting to externalize it, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then my favorite is touch, because again, they're like, Miss, I don't feel anything. It's like, well, surely you do. So, and that's when I have to model. So I'll say like, well, for now, like I feel my sweater. I feel my socks on my feet. Yeah. because again, like sight, you can just name that really quickly.
Right.
But by the time you get to touch, you really have to come back
You have to come
to your
back.
center. You really have to spend time and by the time you've done that, then we're able to use our more developed regions of the brain.
That is beautiful. It's just
thank
beautiful. And I love the way that you're helping us pull together this conversation by thinking about centering. Because I think that that's always what these conversations do for me. You know, they really do center my practice, and being able to connect with amazing teachers like you are absolutely part of that. I wanted to end with, as I was thinking about our topic tonight, I actually went back to read some John Dewey. And I just pulled a sentence. He talks about reflection, and he says, reflection involves not simply a sequence of ideas, but a consequence, a consecutive ordering in such a way that each determines the next as its proper outcome, while each in turn leans back on its predecessors. Which for me, it goes back to your roller coaster.
Yeah.
It goes back to your roller coaster, and it makes me think about, you know, the relationship between consequence, between the positive, the negative, between all of those different facets. So thank you so much for joining us tonight, sharing your wisdom. I know everybody was loving, you know, all of your strategies and all of your insights. So I surely appreciate it. And of course, thank you to all of you out there for tuning into this Ask Sarah Live event and for supporting this work. You'll be able to catch transcripts of this show and kind of bite-size components on my blog this Sunday, which you can find at sarahbrownwessling.com. As always, a special thank you to Teacher and their partnership, which continues to make this work possible and bringing teachers together, right? And most certainly, thank you, Lavandia. You're just a delight and powerful. You've heard me say it many times, but questions, not answers, create the space for learning. So keep those questions coming. You can submit them to us via Facebook, Twitter, or on the Ask Sarah tab of my webpage, which again, you can find at sarahbrownwessling.com. Good night, everybody. Thanks, Lavandia.
Thank you, Sarah.